Hello, welcome to Bob's Vape Reviews here in Manila, Philippines. Today we're going to do a little bit of a flashback review. We're going to be looking at an SOB. We're coming up on the 6th anniversary of SOB, Boss Lando's creation. And I happen to have picked up the last three delrin Emperor series mods in delrin. These are the very last three, one of the last mods that Boss Lando made. And we're going to do a review on it. Everything in this review was bought by me for doing the said review. So, with that out of the way, let's get started. I want to give a couple shout outs real quick. Boss Jazz at SOB, Boss Jeff SOB, and Boss Andrew Easton, who is the one that helped me obtain these three mods so I can do the review. So, without any further ado, let's get forward here. Now let's put two of them away. We'll just concentrate on one. Now this is the delrin SOB series. You got to remember Ohm's law, battery safety. Please, you guys, be very careful. This is not for newbies. This is for someone with experience. Make sure your builds are above 0.30 and up. Delrin body. Beautiful engrave of SOB. Nice. On the back, we have the name. And on the other ones that you will find on the market, you'll find the serial number is under this area right here. This one is a special edition. So it has Lando's legacy on it. You could see it on the top deck. You see it there, Boss Lando. Nice. Full brass with copper internals and a copper 510 pin. You can see her in there. Nice. Brass screws. Delrin firing button. It is spring loaded. Nice and tight. A nice firm button. We have the finger twist battery caps, also made out of copper. Nice. I like to use my tweezers for doing this. Makes it easier because my fat fingers don't like to fit in there. Boom. 1 and 2. Let's take a look at the battery caps. These are machined battery caps here. Got a little bit of ventilation there. They look nice and clean. Very nice. Okay, now I'm going to take her apart. And one thing you want to make sure is these are brass screws. And if you're using a screwdriver, make sure you have the right size screwdriver bit for her. You don't want to be rounding or ruining the heads of these screws. And I've seen it many times. I get people that ask me constantly, Bob, who buys an expensive mod and then does not use the right tool to take it apart? I have seen it a million times. I've seen beautiful VA mods ruined because people using improper tools to perform maintenance and to take things apart. So, with that said, please use the right size bit for the right thing. Now, let's take her apart. One of the things I like to do is I like to keep my thumb right under the screw that I'm going to undo. And as you can see, it acts as a little bridge to protect the head of the screwdriver from slipping off and scratching the brass. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of unscrewing there. I use my finger as a guide and to keep it protected. The screws are beautifully. Machining is very good. Nice and smooth. Take the other one out. Now this has never been taken apart, so everything's really tight on this. So when you're taking this apart, just take your time. Don't be in a hurry like I just did. Keep your finger right there as a guide. And off comes the screws. Off the bottom piece, let's take the 510 deck apart. Nice. Machining is well done on this. I've always had SOB has been really good with the machining. Now these mods, they did come out in delrin. I've seen some in stabilized wood. They had an Ultim one, and they had a painted delrin one. There we go. We have copper internals, as you can see, copper 510 pin, copper firing pin there. The upper contacts, it's hard to see. Can I get a light? Oh, no. There's 2 copper contacts up at the top. There's screws. I would take it apart, but it's really not the easiest getting the screws back in. You have to hold it upside down and put the screwdriver in and carefully line them up and screw them in. I'm not going to do that now live because it'll take too long. But what that will do is we'll undo your contacts here, and the firing pin will be able to come out. Your firing button just unscrews, just like that. Now, tip. You can take this 510 pin, this firing pin, the contacts up at the top that you could barely, I can't get the image. There we there we go. You could take those copper screws at the top, take all of that and the battery caps to your local jewelry store that does repair. Most of your jewelry shops that do repair also do electroplating, and you could have it plated rhodium or silver plated, which will help with the conductivity and also keep them from tarnishing so quickly. Okay. Also, there's a couple makers here in the Philippines that make solid silver parts for this mod. Boss Pipoy of SC Creations, what he originally did before he started making mods and addies was make silver. He's a silversmith. He makes silver parts for any of the mods that were out there. Kalasag, SOB, executive mods, any of the mods that you would want a silver part made, he could do it with no problems. So I would highly suggest, I've done it with my own SOB. I silver plated all the parts inside. Where is my SOB? Oh, it's somewhere around here. Oh, here it is. I'm still using this. I've been using this for 5 years now, non-stop. I use this as my daily driver, and it's never let me down. That's one thing that made SOB so popular and so well known here in the Philippines. They were priced right. They were made very well, and there's no issues with them. Like I said, I've been using mine for years and never have had a misfire, never had an issue of it not firing. I've never had an issue with her at all. So, with that being said, you will get a COA card, as you can see here. SOB, COA. LL stands for Lando's Legacy. Okay. Let's take a look at the machining. The machining of the brass is really well done. I don't see anything. I don't feel any boogers. Everything's nice and smooth, well machined, and clean. And very clean. Here's your 510 deck with Lando's Legacy engraved. Machine work good. Here's your other copper contact. It's pressed in. You can actually pull this out and also silver plate this, which I did on mine. And look at the beefy copper contact. That's one reason why it hits so hard, is the contacts are so big. Also on that firing pin, you can see the firing pin. There's a good sized firing pin in there. Solid copper. Big hunk of copper. And like I said, this is series, so make sure you take your precautions when using a series mod. And this was one of the last mods that he did make. Make sure you got good battery wraps. This is a dual 18650 series. So remember, one battery goes one way, one goes the other way. Okay? Remember that. Now let me put her back together. When you're, tip number 2, when you're putting this back together, one thing that bugs me is if you look, the threading goes right into the delrin. I'm not a big fan of that. I never have. I like it when you use the screw inserts or the screw collars like MCM does. They'll put a brass collar in there so when you tighten down the threads, it doesn't weaken the mod and it still retains its rigidity and also stays in place with strength. So it doesn't just, after taking it apart, doing your maintenance on them, eventually you're going to round out them holes. So here's a tip so that doesn't happen. Don't use your screwdriver to put it back together at first. First, start the screws by hand. And once you feel the threads catch, okay, then you could tighten down with the screwdriver. But don't just use the screwdriver and go ahead and tighten these down, because you want to make sure that these things are threaded really well. You don't want to take the chance of cross-threading them or forcing them in, okay? So please take your time and just use your thumb again and tighten it down. Easy peasy. Don't go cranking it down. You don't have to go crazy. This is not a head gasket you're tightening down. Very simple. You don't want to wreck them threads, and you don't want to take this apart when it's hot. Please do not break this down when she's hot. You'll have a tendency of rounding them threads out, stripping the threads out of the unit when she's hot. Please wait till she's cooled off if you're going to do any maintenance or anything like that on her. Bottom piece pops right on like that. Like I said, take your time and use your fingers to start these threads. Don't use a screwdriver. You can feel it when they're in there. If it doesn't feel good, go to a different hole. And take your time. Take your time. This is one of the items that you don't want to rush. You really don't. You just want to put them in there and start them on your own, just like that. Okay? And once you got them in there good, they've down halfway, I would say, go ahead and take your screwdriver and tighten it down the rest of the way. Just like yay. Remember, don't over crank it. It don't have to be tightened down too much. Oh, I didn't use my thumb. See what happens when you don't use your thumb? There we go. Beautiful. Now let's take some measurements on her. She comes in at 24 wide. We've got 45. And then tall, we have 92. It's not the smallest mod, but it's not a big mod at all. It fits in your hand very well. Plenty of battery ventilation all the way around, and it has a nice grip to it. It feels good in your hand. It really does. It's square, it's boxy, but that's SOB. Mine is also like that, but I've really grown to love this mod. This is one of my favorite mods. Of all the mods I have, this is one of my favorite ones. I use it every day, and like I said, I've never had any problems with them. Nice. All right, back to this mod. So we have her all back together now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my atomizer on. I'm using the MCM UDG. I'm using dual round wire coils, which I use in all my reviews, so I have the same results every time I do a review. I have the same results. Now this has a adjustable 510 pin. You see the head in there, and it's copper. So take your time when you're putting this together. I like to use the Ultim spacer on the bottom of my mods. Reason being is I don't want to mess up the deck of my 510 with swirl marks. So I like to use that. So sometimes you'll have to adjust your 510 pin so it meets that. And I can feel that it's not touching it. So I'm going to go in there with my screwdriver. I'm going to adjust that pin a little bit. Give it a crank. Try it again with my atomizer. The machining is nice. Very well done. Take your time, you guys. I think that's it. Batteries. Make sure you got good battery wraps. Make sure they're in good condition. One goes in, one goes up, one goes down. Remember that. And I got it backwards. I like to put the positive up to the 510 of the Addy. Start your finger twist battery caps like so. Machining is nice. Voila, issue. Put this one on. Come on. Cooperate with me. It's not cooperating. There we go. Take your time. I'm trying to hurry, that's why. And I don't know if I've got that 510 high enough. Nope, I don't. So I'm taking this off. I'm loosening my battery caps on that side, and I'm going to adjust my 510 pin. Give it a couple more turns. Try it again. No, oh, I didn't tighten my battery. Ooh, she come alive. Let me put some juice on her just in case. What are you using for juice, Bob? I'm using vanilla almond. Mammoth. Overlord. Very nice. Ooh. Let me throw a little bit of juice in her. I don't want to burn the cotton. I just put the cotton in her. Alright. Wow. She comes alive. Let's take a hit. Oh. This thing hits really hard, boy. It's the hammer of Thor. Nice. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap things up here. I'm going to go downstairs by the pool and we'll do a cloud check, you guys. So I'll see you in a couple minutes. Alright? See ya! Hey guys, I'm back. A couple things I forgot to mention upstairs. The firing button is Ultim, not delrin. It is Ultim, not delrin. Also, happy 6th anniversary to SOB. Atomizer size, the largest is 25 millimeter. You can fit on it here, no problems. Very little overhang, nothing at all really to speak of. Okay, also weight. She weighs 140 grams with no batteries, no atomizer, naked. And that's it. Let's get to the cloud check. I switched juice. I'm using honey butter. Very good. We're in Manila. It's a cloudy day, rainy. We're still on lockdown here. ECQ, extreme community lockdown. Let me put a little juice in here. She hits really hard. It's a very good mod. I really can't find any cons about her other than the screw collars. I wish they had installed some screw collars in here. It'd make me feel a lot better. It's not really a deal breaker, but it's something that should have been looked into earlier when they were producing them. It is a good mod. I have no problems, no qualms with it, no misfires. Every time I hit the button, no problem. Once again, that's because of the heavy-duty copper contacts that this mod has. SOB is famous for is the heavy-duty contacts. And that's why it was one of the most best-selling mods and mod maker in the Philippines. Let's do another one. Cloud maker, yes she is. Good mod, yes she is. Would I recommend it? Yes I do. Price point, you're talking about 150 to 200, and that's if you could find them. They are no longer being produced, so it's very hard to get hold of them. That's why I scooped up the last 3. delrin. Let's do another cloud. I love the MCM Addy. This Addy is really a great Addy. The UDG25LE. Well, that was the cloud check, you guys. I hope this review was informative. I hope you liked it. It was a little bit of a flashback. I'll be issuing a new review on the new Tower Desolator 3 coming up in the next day or two. I just received it in the mail. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. I hope you found this informative, and I hope you liked it. Have a good day. Be safe. Please take care, you guys. We'll see you on the flip side. See you.